All right. Good night. Good night. Welcome back. Good night. Welcome back. Good night. Welcome back to Fatherhood Think Tank. We are back after almost seemed like 20 years away. But we are back finally. I clearly was sharing with people last week when I had the beginning to say, hey, we were coming back, that here is what we were coming back to and how we were coming back. And now we are here live in the flesh. Me and Rohan had a really good conversation last week, and that just almost reminded me why it was so important to maintain this platform. It's been a while since we've been here, and now we're back. We are definitely going to enjoy our topic for tonight. Welcome back to Fatherhood Think Tank is the topic of tonight. Um, Myself, so I'm going to let the guys who are here tonight introduce themselves, and then we're going to get into the conversation. Welcome back to Fatherhood, and then we'll get into. So I would say right now, if you can like, share, subscribe. To the platforms. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. These are this is where you will get information. And if you want to get information about how to be a part of, then you can definitely always go over to our app. We have an app as well. And join us at the Fatherhood Think Tank group on the band app. You get the meeting updates, information about Fatherhood Think Tank, community information. So just know that we are here, and we're going to get ready to start. I'll let the fathers who are here introduce themselves, and then we'll come back and get this conversation started.
Hey, good afternoon, fam. Welcome back. You understand, we miss you guys, and I miss the exercise. I miss the conversations. I miss the good intentions of good intelligence. So it's great to be back. My name is Lionel Lightborn. I am a married father of 7 young adults now. All of them young adults now. All of them officially adults, and it's always good to be here. So can't wait to see what comes up tonight.
How's it going? So they're not a tribe anymore, like born.
I forgot all about the tribe, but I'm gonna have to come up with something else. That was last season.
J. Rob Menard, father of 2 young adults. I guess they're adults now because my youngest is going to be turning 22 this year, so I guess they're adults now.
Oh yeah. Okay. Look, they're coming. The brothers are coming. They getting used to it. My brother, I'm so happy to see this name down here. It just gives me chills just to see him come on. We're doing the introduction, now. Oh well, Yonel's here. You can see he's here. Uh, you're on mute. You can unmute yourself.
Actually, I'm fighting with it, so I get it in.
You loud and clear now. We got you.
Okay.
Give us your introduction, Yonel.
My wife helped me out. She helped me out to make sure I get in.
Okay. Oh, you want to give us your introduction, your name, number, children, what have you?
Um, my name Yonel Munima. I got 5 kids. One is 26, one is 21, one is 15, one is 13, one is 12.
Okay.
And
All
I
right.
have my wife for 14 years, Mary.
Thank you. That's yes. That's what I like to hear. Welcome back, brother. Welcome back.
Thank you guys.
Um,
I miss you guys. I miss you guys.
yeah. It's amazing that the one big part of this is that this is why today's episode is welcome back because at some point we almost got to get acclimated to one. Oh, I guess I don't know. I seen something funny happen.
Now,
Um,
your voice went out for a minute.
yeah, I hope these people ain't fooling. Come on, this supposed to be the top tier internet I got up in this place, man. It's not supposed. Listen, we run. Ain't even nobody here, so I know the internet not being used by anybody where I'm at. So I'm supposed to be the only person popping it. Anyway, so it just it's really good to be back and to begin to start getting this tribe of men and fathers to begin to start, as I like to say, almost crusading to get other fathers. I actually was at church on Sunday, and they had a christening, baptism of the child, and I went up to the dad and said, "Hey man, you got Instagram?" He said, "Yeah, I got Instagram." I said, "Brother, let me share something with you on Instagram, so you can get this link." And I made sure I linked him up to the page, so he would be definitely coming through, being able to see our information, be able to find out what things is. Because I mean, his baby likes 8 months years old, and it was very clear, to me through the baptism that his family was having the baptism, but I don't know about the mom. And I was thinking, working this all this time, this looked like a father who is come ready to be a part, but who knows what's going to happen in a year and a half from now? Will he even be seeing this child? How will he be able to manage things? Because I mean, I didn't see them interact, talk, the whole church service. Matter of fact, just be honest, seemed like it was some real conflict in within the families, the young man and his partner. So it is one of those things that in this working in this field is one of the first things I tune into now, especially back working in schools. One of the first things I look for and I talk to the young people is that wait, how your dad? What's your relationship with your dad? When the last time you seen him? And you sometimes see this very strong coalition, you know that the kids that seem to be having a lot of problems, a lot of issues, they're not having that engagement with a father or with their father or even father figures in some instance, because a lot of kids here got stepdads, and you find out, they got, some of them have, and I've seen so much in the last half a year that I've been working back with children that really reinstilled the reason why we need this. We need this. We need people need to be able to hear and find that there's a safe place to come and vent, talk about, and find out, resources, and just hear from other men who facing what they're facing and they may not even know about it. So that's definitely a big part of where we're looking at. Um, Lightborn, what have you been up to since we've been away?
Oh man, what they say, living and learning. That's about it. Um, living, that's a given. I mean, thank God for waking up every day. But at the same time, learning, that's learning the multitude and the plethora of stuff on how, the simple things on how to just simply breathe and enjoy myself, and enjoy having the right to choose, and just reevaluating everything that's going on in me and around me. So that's what's been going on. That's going to probably be a consistent journey, but it's a new one and a fulfilling one for me. So I'm eternally grateful for that. So that's what I've been into.
Right. Uh, Rob, Gene, what
Yeah,
have I mean?
I'm gonna jump on what Light Point said. I think it is living and learning. I think we've all entered into a different phase, right? Especially as fathers, uh, with our kids, just understanding a new dimension of our children, right? So, like I was saying before we started, I was like, my youngest is going to be turning 22 this year, and it's just amazing on looking at him and just allowing him to grow independent. If that makes sense, because a lot of times we still, they're our kids. You still want to shelter them. So I think it's a lot of understanding that they've got to now make not severe mistakes, but allowing them to make those little mistakes so that they can come into their own, so to speak, if that makes sense. So
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of living, a lot of learning, a lot of growing as a father, and also uh, just a lot of how can I say it? It's not so much surprise, but just um, excitement on to see like all that you put into your kids to now watch them evolve and say, you know what, man, I laid the foundation. They're understanding, they're growing, they're learning, they're experiencing, and I think that's really what fatherhood is about.
Yeah. And it looks like in many instances that wishing that I made about how important fatherhood would be later on in life is coming to be somewhat transparent for people. This idea of when do our kids really need us? We sometimes feel like, oh, they need us during the early years. Um, but really, right now, you're probably finding, and like when you probably see this probably the most since your kids are the older kids, and also you now that your kids really like need you. They're really out here saying, hey, I'm really trying to make it. And I need this kind of support that sometimes you can only get from a father. Uh, and again, I speak about that so often as I go to just having the birthday I just had, and realizing that that's absolutely true for myself still in some point needing that kind of support from a father, and I have that support and get that kind of support. So it's one of those things that a lot of people don't, maybe they don't get to see, maybe they're not getting the experience, but it is one of those things that's there for us. Yonel, I mean, you
Yeah,
probably are a brother who has a gap span of kids right now. How? I mean, I know the last time we was together, you were talking about maybe some of your younger kids and some of the teenage kids and some of the stuff they're facing. How are you
yeah.
seeing this as you go in the span of kids that you have? The 5 kids, and that you almost finding yourself as a father dealing with them And so many,
Yeah.
you really got to be working in their time frame, in their age group to kind of deal with it. It can't be like, well, this a blanket management of you guys. You actually now have to do it in another way. Tell us a little bit about that.
But yeah, actually, so like we keep learning as a father, and pretty much I'm gonna talk about the oldest one. The one who was 26 years old. He get married last year in June, and he want my support, and I show him my support. I be there, and I do much I can for him. He so really appreciate, and his wife too. Very much, he's kind of like that's what he need from me. But when he's move out, he feel like he wasn't get that love since he saw his married and my presence was there, and I kind of like give my whole support from the wedding. He's kind of like changed completely. And he talked to me. He told me, Dad, I never know you was gonna be there for me. Cause I know, so I put you a lot. I move out from your house and I just not finish school, and I know something you don't like. And that's why when I move out and I pretty much, go back to school to give you what you want, but still I feel like, you still not really appreciate everything I was done. But right now, when I need you and I saw you, and I feel like, I know they have a lot of change from me, but I'm learning more for you guys. And they're 21 years old too. So when he was get the girl pregnant, after 7 months, he came to me, he told me that pretty much that's kind of like set up, because I don't know if I really do have the person pregnant. I said, come on. And you don't use protection. And when that was happening, so you already know it's something you pretty much like, it's not a setup. It's kind of like something you know about it. And after 7 months, he come to me, he say, the person pregnant, and they get the baby. And as a father, as a mother, we take our responsibility. We went to the parents' house and we lock. So I think I went like more than 4 times to get like contact with the parents and try to communicate with them. So yes, my son do something, he's gonna take his responsibility for what he done. So we don't need to worry. I'm his father, so I'll be there for him whatever he needs. So I'm gonna be encourage him to make sure he did it. But for some reason, he take his full responsibility. He said that I'm gonna move out so I can help them, because when she get the baby, I cannot come back and forth to the house, and I don't have a car, and I just kind of like feel like I have to stay there with them. But he never told me how he talked to the parents, because you cannot leave my house and go to live with your girl her parents, and you have to tell them something why you want to move. And I just say, okay, I know you was gonna go, so you was gonna leave. But same thing, I always tell you guys, be careful, do what you need to do, and don't get yourself kind of like in trouble, like the environment. So make sure so you're a man of Christian, man of God, so you know what to do. And he left, and after he graduated, because I went to his graduation. After he finished graduate high school, he left and he lived there with them. He take his full responsibility because I think the girl don't even know anything about that. But I always teach them some of the things I know, and I tell them this is the way you need to carry your kids. This is the way you carry your woman. This is how you're supposed to be support them. And he get a job. He make sure he do what he's supposed to do. And the next thing, he's moving, going to Georgia, and with the parents. And I say, "Are you really wanna go to Georgia?" He said, "Yes, that only way I'm not going if you allow me to bring her and the baby." And I kind of like shock because I have three little I supposed to raise, and I don't want those three little
Mhm.
seeing that, and especially they have a teenager, a
Right,
girl,
right.
14 years old there. I'm kind of like, damn, that's something I need to kind of like more thinking about. And I spoke to my wife and I said, listen, it's not, we don't want him. We can get the baby and plus we can get him. But I'm not gonna let her come to stay with us. She need to stay with her parents. I don't think it's gonna feel good for the little girl we have. And they're gonna see it. Those little gonna see it. And they're gonna talk to me about it. And I always have a Thursday meeting with them. They bring that to the meeting. They
Mm.
bring that to the meeting to me. They tell me so many, like, they're 12 years old, they're 13 years old, and they bring that to the meeting. Because every Thursday, I have a meeting with them, a family meeting, and we have a fellowship, everything. And they talk to me about it. But I tell them, hey, listen, this is the reason I don't let him stay there. It's because I don't want her to be like on the room with him, all those things. So we gonna like he have to respect you, especially you, a little girl. He's supposed to respect you as a brother. So he left, and we still talking. He still asks me that what I need to do. Cause right he living with them for pretty much 2 years, and he's been doing good. But when I'm kind of like check with the parents, they're not a good environment for him. Cause thank God spoke to them and I show him right direction because his I think the girl father went to jail and the mother is an alcohol addict, is have a DUI, his license
Mm.
canceled. They have so many things in the background. It's really terrible. But since they're white, and I thought kind of like I'm kind of like black, I feel like oh, why? I think because I'm black, because they don't respect me, or what's going on. But when I find out it's those kind of people they are, I'm kind of like oh, I'm better than them. They might be right, but I'm better than them. And I told my wife, you know what? I'm not going there to the house no more. I went full time, then I opened the door to like, to see how my son doing, how's everything going on. So don't worry, we your girl find a nice boy, so it doesn't is a person who was care about the kids, so things like that. But then I opened the door and I say, okay, you know what, babe, we're not going there no more. And he can taking care of the kids, his kids, so without no problem. For me, I know you a mother, how her mother is. I'm not gonna go to sit next to those people no more because I see how they are and I see what how type of person they are. I see, you know what? I'm not saying I'm better than them, but I'm gonna choose myself not going there.
Well,
And
I hear, as I hear you say this,
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I think that this is a really you bring up a really good point for a lot of people to think about when they're when we have children who are now about to have children. Because I think
Mm-hmm.
of as you described that story, I thought about
Mm-hmm.
6 actual stories
Yeah.
similar to that, where it was, parent, and sometimes it amazes us that we could, build in a way with our children, and they still go and do things that's different from what we built with them. Just people will say, "Oh, this how was this person raised?" Well, sometimes kids get in life and they want to live their own life. They want to do their own thing, their way, and it doesn't become like, oh, what kind of parenting we provided, because in the same instance of this incident happening, you describe so many things that of your parenting came out in what he decided how and what to do. you know. So it's almost so amazing that occurred, and some of the things that he didn't. You hear the story about people for real, and they got somebody pregnant. Next thing they saying, oh, "I'm gonna drop out of school and get a job." That is like this narrative that occurs, and matter of fact, not even a narrative, it becomes a construction, because some people say, well, you need to forget about everything, get a job because you got a baby on the way, and this and that and another. And I just, the one thing I see Donald here, let him introduce himself, that you said is the the issue or the power of feeling that maybe you may feel inferior to the other parents. But I can't imagine how you could be inferior when you have every Thursday meeting with the kids. You know how many parents don't even talk to their kids until it's trouble. I mean, I think, brother, that alone tonight might be one of the takeaways people watching need to think about doing with their children, is having some type of weekly check-in. Those check-ins are important. We go to our job, right? We go to our job, and the boss says we got a standing meeting every Wednesday for everybody to check in, whatever. But we live in our families. We never check in ever. We don't have a check-in with our wife. We don't have a check-in with our significant other. We have a check-in with our children and find out how these things operate. We just on cruise control. But in the place where the people pay us, they tell us we need to be in a meeting at such a time. We there, bright and early. Whatever you say, boss, shaking over here type of business. We should be doing that same type of shaking it over here for our family. And I think that's the one thing I just wanted to bring that out, because this is about solutions. And I think that is a great solution for some people who are saying they're having some issues of figuring out how they're managing their family, and they seem like they're lost in their family. Donald, I see you here. We'll give you opportunity, and I see Gene trying to come in here too.
Hey, good evening, fellas. This is Donald Jones. I know my stage name does say "Love Those Who Love You." I'm a resident of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I moved back to Florida. A divorced father of 2, but have a blended family of 7 children, mostly adult, 2 teenagers. And I'm glad we're all back. How y'all doing?
All right, welcome back, brother. It's good to see you and see how things changed. Last time we talked to you was in Atlanta. Now you back in Fort Lauderdale. You gotta love it.
Yeah, the Most High's in the blessing business. I was called back here. Me and my lady, which you all know, we moved up there impromptu to settle the divorce, which is done. Um, I'll be going to get my children for the summer, and she did want me to tell all you guys how y'all doing, and she's glad we're back.
Okay, that's wonderful. I'm sure all the significant others who, who be in the vaccine are saying that same thing. They're glad that we back, and that that we have that point of interest that we do. Gene, I know you was about to open up your mic. Had some.
Yeah. I was gonna build up what you were saying about that story, and I want people to, you know, another takeaway about that, and I think that weekly meeting is big, but a lot of times people have this opinion about fathers, like it's a callous actions that we take when it comes to kids, because we didn't birth them ourselves, right? But I want you to understand the contemplation that fathers do have when they're locked in. When fathers are locked in, and they have a relationship with their kids, and it's about quality, not quantity. I always say that. If you have quality relationship, it wasn't part of his story was the contemplation on everything that he did. It wasn't just you know what, they messed up, I'm gonna let them. It was more of a how can I kind of weighing out pros and cons, so to speak. Like, I want to, but I can't because. And every father has that contemplation when it comes to making decisions about their kids. You know what I'm saying? And it's not, you do certain things because as a parent, you have to understand that there is a learning process that comes into play. And oftentimes, especially when we're fathering young men, we have to take a stronger stance because we want them to be strong. And it's not about them. It's not about a falling back, but it's about allowing them to understand that consequences do have actions, and they have to grow and they have to get a little bit stronger than because you're not only talking about caring for yourself now, you're talking about caring for other people. And it's a, and I don't want to say it's a burden, but it is a lot to shoulder because it is a bigger responsibility than just caring for yourself. It's a lot easier to care for yourself than to care for a family. So understanding that, as fathers and when we're raising young men, we're teaching them that you have to not just care for yourself now, it's caring for other people and making sure that they're good just as well as you're good. I think that's one of the things I was taking away from his story when he was sharing is the fact that he did do that, but in not so many words. It was an action thing that demonstrated that specific example, and a lot of times, we as fathers and father figures, I want to say downplay, but society will downplay the role that we have within the family, and it's important that we keep that role, that we understand that we are as important, if not more important, than what society feels and what society thinks.
No, I heard. I heard exactly what you said, Gene. And I'm glad you took up the slack for me because I was trying to put something together real quick, so I was a little distracted. But at the same time, you nailed what he brought up. There were so many dynamics to that because I'm starting to experience that in my family as well. My family is the next generation is more integrated now than the previous generation, right? And so I may have where I may have maybe a generation or two ago may have had no white people in my family. Now I have white in-laws in my family that brings on a dynamic where our experiences, and I think as Black people, back to your point, J. Rob, we sometimes are not used to being in a mentorship or even a leadership capacity, right? And you don't know when it can happen, and so you can be offended, right, about a particular group of people integrating in your family. You understand? Or you can play the offense of a particular group of people that's going to be looking for your leadership. Because remember, these people, particularly when I have my family being integrated, I'm talking about on maybe like 3 levels. So I can think about 3 relationships in my family right now that they're all married to Caucasian, either women or men, both. 2, one is my son. One is he's married. I mean, no, he's married, but he's about to be married, engaged to a Caucasian young lady, sweetheart. I'm talking about out of Texas, sweetheart. And I have a niece who's married to a Caucasian. Actually, he's Irish. I'm talking about pure Irish young man. And then I also have a cousin who just recently got married to a white young lady. and he's military. And he had 2 twins just recently. All this is like current. And so when we're talking about approaching this, and you're talking about blending two historic and culturally experiences, we have to be careful of the stigmas. The stigmas is going to always be there. As a matter of fact, I think most people unconsciously will lean towards the stigmas more. They will lean towards the science of what's really happening to them. And so when I heard Yunel said that it's a possibility that the people can't think less of him because he's black. You understand? He's a black father, and his son is black, who's actually, you might well say, technically married to their white daughter. You understand? So we tend to start playing more defense than offense. And when you start to do that, and what I mean by more defense than offense, it's because if you only got a plan for your son and not his family, who is actually your family now, you understand? You're going to have to take off those blinders. I mean, you're going to have to learn how to play offense because that is your family now. That child is half your blood now and half their blood. And so the question is, how do you lead that whole tribe who may not want to go to the promised land? Technically, you're like a male Harriet Tubman. And you may be put in a position to be a Harriet Tubman of an integrated society or integrated generation who don't really know the wisdom or prefer specifically the love it takes to truly be integrated, not as a particular culture, but as a humanity. And so with that, you got to understand the fact that if that man, if like my family, my son loved that woman, I got a chance to meet her. We actually all stayed under the same roof back in last August. And I know I can see the intimidation, different things like that, which put me at an advantage. And again, I'm not, in certain circumstances, I'm not used to being at an advantage. And so when I had that advantage and I realized that advantage, and that's why it's good to have a good wife too. I let my wife lead because she's more inviting. That's her strength. She's very inviting. She's very peaceable. She's very charismatic. So she know how to lead in that situation. So now here I am. I have to step back as a man. You understand? So look at all these stigmas. Now I got to step back as a man to let my wife lead in a situation that I haven't really, not saying I hadn't collectively put the wisdom together to really lead in. Because I still, as a man, I was under an observation type. That's men. We always observe first before we act. So I still needed more time to observe while my wife led the way for me to actually interact. So I had to go from observation to interaction, and I needed time for that. And it might have took 2 days. We were there for about 5. So it might have took me a day or 2 to actually get from observation to interaction. And my wife actually played a great buffer. She led very well to actually lay the playing field and the foundation for a really good vacation that we had. And I don't regret it one bit. So it's a lot of advantage that we do have, but we have to realize when we have the advantage and not lean towards the disadvantage we used to be at. You feel what I'm saying? Because you may have been at a racial disadvantage at one time, but you have a white young lady that's in love with your son and chose your son. And so she didn't think less of him to have a baby for him. She thought more of him. And so you can't confuse the two of how, and not saying her parents, but how her ancestors might have felt about you versus how how she feel about your son. You're going to have to bridge the gap between the two.
That's, I mean, again, as these conversations always do. And let me say this before I forget, because I'm supposed to be saying, hey, like, share, subscribe. We have a Facebook page. Go and join that Facebook page so you can be a part of all the conversation, be able to meet the different people who are on this page. Eventually, once we get enough people on the page, it's brand new, we'll start putting, a group, they have a little group, page on the page. Definitely go and subscribe to the YouTube page so you can get notified when we're going to be having these. And the one thing I would say so important is to, even if you say I can't listen for the 90 minutes you guys are here, share it to somebody, because right now in this little time we've talked, There are so many gems that you don't really get. If we had to compete, listen, we're like a little nanobite, a little nanobite of what is going on in reference to fatherhood and how fatherhood is being represented in the bigger stream of social media. And it's not in any lights. Like we're this little a small little microcosm that's trying to become standard for people and standard for them to say, well, you know what? I'm thinking about something. Let me go over to the Fatherhood Think Tank and kind of figure out. Let me go in there and ask and talk and work it out and see what I can get from the iron that's sharpening iron together. The group of fathers who are from so many different ranges. Like tonight, look, we have single father, divorced father, married father. I'm calling him a grandfather now. Grandfather, father. We have the father with multi-age children, still, doing these things, and then you're really getting these different types of conversations from everyday people. That nobody here is an expert. We only have experiences, and I think that's what changes. Because then most of the stuff I see today is people the expert. They gonna tell you how you should do your life, what you should tell your woman, what you should tell your kid, how you should do it. I think that experience is a much better teacher. And it doesn't have to be your experience. You can hear from someone else's experience. So that's one of the big ones that I like. Oh, there you go, brother. Don't like Nasty Nate. Come on and log in. You got I sent you the link. Don't come on and log in, because you a father I know who got some words of wisdom for somebody who might be listening who may not know what's going on here. So definitely.
Yeah, but the good thing about it is we have a level right now. I'm sorry, Ron. Go ahead.
So again, No. I'm just pushing. Hey, hit the button, like, share, subscribe, join us, so you'll know when we on.
Real quick, Lightborn, I want to comment on, because I know it's going to take the conversation a slightly different, but you said something to me that was also powerful, because oftentimes men have a tendency, right, to feel as if when you say you're the head of the household, you're the leader. You have to lead in every aspect. But leading also comes with the knowledge to know when to step back. And in your sharing, you gave that perfect instance to say, you look, as a man, I had to step back to allow my wife to take the reins so I can come to get myself together to lead again. It's and I think that's such a wise thing that you said, because we have a tendency as men to always feel like we need to be in charge. We need to be the one who makes, every instance possible. And sometimes making the instance possible is knowing when to delegate. And I think that was a beautiful example of the wisdom of delegation in a marriage, or even in a relationship period, in your example. I just wanted to say that. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, Gene, I think that what you're saying is so. I mean, and I think that if people can really hear us playing, this is why it's sometimes important to remember that having children is a dual situation, a relation. Okay, so listen, before you have children, most people have a relationship with their partner that they learn to sacrifice, give, let that person lead in the places they need to lead, let that person manage the things they need to manage. We have that. So I think that what Lightborn is just putting more elbow grease into the statement is saying, hey, look, then when you get the kids, you don't have to mess anything up, because you may have your convictions, you may have your different way, and it's a good balance. I've told people, especially couples I've dealt with, when they're making a decision, if both of y'all dead set saying, oh, no, then you're probably right. When you're having an argument, discussion about it, you guys got to go back and reevaluate and look at the real pros and cons of what it is, because some of it still doesn't fit both of you core values, ethics, morals. It's something that still might be a little question. But when you both already got the side eye as it's coming halfway out, you know that your guys together not going to be able to support it. I mean, the wife can support something that the husband might not can, and it can survive. But if both of you don't support it, it's never going to go anywhere. It's going to die, and it's usually going to bring you some conflict and some confusion.
That's the one thing I like about God, and just God, just life in general. Life is like an equal, what they call equal opportunity. Give you equal opportunity disparities. You're not gonna get any cheat sheets. You're not gonna get a child that was like you, because that's what we be trying to raise. Like when I was a child, I'm like, no, God is not gonna give you a cheat sheet where you can raise the child you were. That's not gonna happen. But what I do love, I love the new things that I'm learning, because when I realized that, for instance, that the Irish young man, decided he was going to love my niece, right, with all her what John Legend say, all her perfect imperfections, right? She have the sweetest, because her dad is my nephew, so you got to understand, she's not just my niece; she's really my grandniece. Look at the dynamics on that. I am this young, because my brother is 12 years older than me, and I'm older. I'm his oldest son, uncle. So my nephew is 10 years younger than me. See how that works? And his oldest daughter and my youngest daughter is they're about the same age. And so once I met the young man, I know he loved her. And so I understood the dynamics that comes along with that. And so now that wisdom is needed, right? Because he's going to have to know about the history if things doesn't change, of the history of what it takes to truly love a Black woman, and the anxieties and the history and the disparities that comes with Black women or being Black women. And so now he is a white young man, again, great young man who loves a Black woman. And I think when they say the Bible says a threefold cord is not easily broken. Right away, me being the elder, I automatically have to tie on to him, you understand, to be the guidance that he needs to love my niece. Because he's not 50 something years old. They may be in the early 30s. And so now I already can forecast, because I'm 54, maybe I'm 53. And so I can forecast on, okay, I got to be ready, you understand, to make sure that I be that second cord that he needs to push forward in loving my niece. And so it's a lot of dynamics that he don't supposed to know, because if the world was really just and loving as it's supposed to be, I wouldn't have to be who I am. But the fact that the history is not, then I have to say, okay, you know what? I know he loved her. That's all I need, right? Sometimes you need something to build on, and sometimes all you have is that love, or a person want to love. You understand? That person that you love to build on. And so his love is all I have to build on to protect him, right? To ensure that he protects her. And so even in conversation like this, I find myself, because he is white, he is Irish, he is not of our culture, and etc. like that, I still find myself now have to play both offense and defense, because I have to still protect his right to love her. You understand? And so that's the only thing that really supersedes, right, the disparities of my history, is his right and his want to love her. So now I have to prioritize who I am. You understand? And my values and different things like that, to make sure that love for that particular family and that next generation. Remember, she's my grandniece. So look how important that is for me to have to reprioritize who I am, to make sure they move forward for a better union, that society can be a better union and be what they are or what they're trying to attempt to be. But if they fail, guess what? My advocacy fails too, because I'm a married man who didn't help keep another generation, two generations below me, you understand, unity together. And Lord knows we don't need no single parents or single children being raised by single culture, in single parents by in any culture. And so that's I mean, your vision have to be big, and sometimes, and not sometimes, all the time, you're gonna have to ask God for help to expand your vision. Sort of like what Jabez is. Well, for the people who don't know Jabez, just go look up the story.
I see we got another brother who came on. You want to introduce yourself, Brother Stevens, and just share, just so we know how many children you have, family, um, and it, right now tonight's show is welcome back to Fatherhood Think Tank. So we're just getting happy to be back and starting these conversations again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, we can hear you loud and clear, brother.
Kellon Stevens, married for 3 years, no kids. Just here to, soak up all the knowledge I can.
Brother, you're on the right. That's you are really our recruiting class of people that we really like to get to come on, and because I think that we don't have that in our community anymore. We don't have the elder fathers to kind of tell the new guys who get married what's going to be, what's going to happen, and I think what we find when we're on this platform, when we hear that a brother like yourself will say, "Wow, I'm so happy to be married to my wife." Right? When you hear the brothers, and some brothers who have children already, and sometimes they haven't worked out with the woman they end up having the children with, and the things they go through, and the idea that you got an opportunity to make that choice. And make it when you guys are ready, the way you want to do it, and build your relationship. So it's really great. Thank you, brother, for joining us tonight. Don't be shy, brother. If it's something come to your mind, question or something, that's what we're here for, to have this dialogue, conversation for the 90 minutes that we here on the Fatherhood Think Tank, because it is a think tank. It's not a pyramid scheme. It's not an info commercial. It's not. It's absolutely a time for us to get together and start thinking about what fatherhood is. And no better people to really start thinking about what fatherhood is married men who are thinking, or who might be planning to be fathers, of what resources. Because what happens is, what I've realized is, we just take whatever we know, right? We ain't gonna go in with no plans. Sometimes we be a first generation father, and I come up with all these interesting terminology that people be saying, Doc, when you come up with this stuff, you're just making up stuff. No, but listen, first generational father is someone who has made a commitment to say, I'm gonna be a better father than my father. So they're like the first generational father who's gonna say, I'm gonna get married, I'm gonna have my kids, this and that. And sometimes they're doing things, we're going out doing it, but in real instance, we're not being a good father, the best father, because we saying we are the father that we didn't have. So just being there makes us good, and we sometimes put that to the mothers. I ain't had no father. At least my kids gonna have a father, even if I'm not engaged with them, even if I don't do nothing, even if I don't have meetings every week with them to figure out and check in. I'm here, so that makes me, and I think that is great, but is it the best for your kids? Is it best for your relationship? Is it the best for you? Because I think I've always said that we need our children more than our children need us. We think that the children need us, but we really need them, because without them, we die. And no one ever knows who we are. And nothing we ever put in the world gets anywhere, because it ends with us on that end line of where we are. So even I tell people, hey, you're not going to have, sometimes people say, we can't have kids. I say, it's tons of kids out here looking for somebody to continue the lineage of you who somebody didn't want or something didn't have. I know that sometimes is a sticky situation. I need my own flesh and blood, but sometimes what you put into people ain't just blood. It's wisdom, knowledge, and history of who you is as their father and as their mother. So sometimes, that don't always have to be blood that you put into them, and genetics. Sometimes, and we see that.
But you know what I like? The fact that Kalon, you said you've been married for 3 years, right? Well, I'm going to say this. Kalon, the fact that he's married for 3 years and they haven't had a child yet, it's saying that you are solidifying your priorities, right? And so, what you guys, before you have a kid, you have the opportunity, right, and the time um, to build a greater team, right? Okay, so it's like before um, we go recruiting quarterbacks, and I don't know nothing about sports, so just entertain my analogy. Before we go building, buying quarterbacks or recruiting quarterbacks and stuff like that, you have to really build that organization first. And I think oftentimes we jump too fast to the game, right to the teams and the game, and not really look at the organization. You understand, that actually governs the whole game or that whole team. And so we get so caught. And sometimes if you start on the field, your relationship will be left on the field. But if you understand the inner workings of that organization of what actually builds that team, then you become a better team for your child, to make your child a star player. If that make any sense, because I don't know jack about sports, but I know enough to really try to give that analogy. So let me get some feedback on what you guys think about what I just said.
The team, folks. Come on, if he asks you the team, what team, going to, well, I know most of you guys in Florida, I don't know if you're Florida fans, but if he asks you what you think about last night, Florida Gators winning the Final Four, y'all tell me about all the statistics, the numbers. This is what we got to get excited about fatherhood the same way. Statistics, numbers, understanding that there is no more the most active father proven until they do the new research from the CDC, and they probably won't be doing that no time soon based on how things operate. That the most
it's time. Actually, it's this year, because I think the last one was 2015. So yeah, every 10 years it's 2025. It's about
yeah. So
census should be getting ready to happen again.
So those fathers, the most active fathers in the children's life, were us, who they said are not active. So we have to think about this in another way.
But what Ron, and the thing about it is, and I guess I should explain myself a little further. I think a lot of time as fathers, I think we get pigeonholed and stereotyped into being quarterbacks and players and running backs. And so I think when we compare ourselves to the players and not to the owners, we kind of stereotype ourselves. If you're going to talk about the NFL, I like to call it the National Fatherhood League, right? And so if you're going to think about the NFL, you're not going to be a player. If you are the father, you are actually an owner. And so you should never really being a father, you should never be thinking like a player. You should be thinking like an owner. You got to remember, it's the owner that actually builds and rebuilds those teams. But I think oftentimes as fathers, we get caught up in the stereotype of being players, that we miss the opportunity to be the owners that we are of the families that we're actually guiding and rebuilding and building and trying to make into the franchise that we want to make it into. And so that's all I'm saying. When I hear Keelan says, because I already understand that the organization has already been built. Now, when he also, once they start to have children and stuff like that, then now the franchise starts to be expanded with the teams that they're going to be, each team player or whatever the case may be, or however they want to structure that organization, because their children may not be set to be team players on the field. You understand? They may be an extension of the franchise, but you have to know your organization and know who is going to be a part of the team, who's going to be a part of the franchise, who's going to be a part of this, who's going to be a part of that, and that's the priorities I think fatherhoods have to start thinking about. I think we watch enough sports, but we watch so much of it on the field. We never really pay attention to the people up in the stands that are the owners of creating what we're seeing on the field in those championship teams. And so I think we have to start thinking more like owners and less like players when it comes to being fathers.
Yeah, I'll build on that analogy as you just did, Lightborn. Because oftentimes, we have to understand also what pieces that are missing, right? And strategically find those pieces and put them in the right, and to help build that, like you said, that franchise team that's going to take it all the way. I think that when it comes to fatherhood, and I know we a lot of times we focus on the single piece of the active father, meaning there's a child somewhere in play, right? But fatherhood starts way before that. Fatherhood starts with the mindset of wanting to be a father, first of all, because you got people out there who don't want to be fathers and just happen to be in a father role, versus people who actively say, one day I'm going to be a father. I want to be a father. I want to participate as a father, and I want to be a productive father, right? Because there's a difference, because you have fathers who are just there, you have fathers who are productive. So you want to be a productive father. So it starts with that mindset, and I think that once you have that mindset, you build from there. A lot of things that you do will always even if it's not in the forefront of your mind, in the back of your mind, a lot of things you do will put you in a position to be a father or to guide yourself. I don't think you're ever ready 100% for a family, whether you're married, you're not married, or anything like that. I don't think you're 100% ready for a family. It's going to happen, whether it's going to happen to you, not with you. There's very few people who get to plan the time their kids are born, right? And I think in this situation, I think Kenlon is one of those people who is in a position to say, hey, you know what, I can plan this out. But again, it starts with that mindset of, I want to be a father, so you can start getting ready to be a father. And so when the child comes, it's not that you know everything, it's that you know some things, because now you're dealing with an individual. And I think that's where a lot of people, lose that frame or mentality, is once you start dealing with the individual. And understanding that this person is going to, with the foundation you set, they're still going to be their own person. They're still going to want to make their own mistakes. They're still going to want to do their own thing. And I think we have to understand that as that happens, we have to be adjustable. Meaning, we have to be able to go with the flow of what's going on. I think a lot of us, especially my age, you had that father figure that was rigid. It was my way or the highway. You do it this way or you get out, right? And that was the generation that we all grew up in. I think at one point. So there were certain things that your father would deal with. There are certain things that you just could never do because your father wouldn't deal with that. I think that with nowadays, with the role of the father and understanding the father and the importance of the father, but also understanding that, yes, there are going to be some things that you will absolutely draw the line in the sand for, but there are other things that are pick and choose that battle because the message is more powerful than the consequence. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it made plenty of sense, bro. I wanted to say something to that too.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
I,
fam.
appre- I appreciate it, and thank y'all both for giving out the examples because I was going to ask for clarity on what like Warren had said, but Rob put it together so eloquently. I just want to piggyback off that. Um, when like Warren, when you're talking about the ownership and the sport concept of what we're seeing in fatherhood, the thing that has been lacking for a very long time is the same thing that's lacking in the football and basketball leagues now, national NBA and NFL. There's no veteran leadership, and there's no one there to actually teach you exactly what you should see in the examples that are in front of you. and how to learn from it and take your own course of direction on how you would decide to do it that's different from how you were raised and what you see. And it's a part of critical thinking that we learned in school, specifically with Generation X, that is not being taught right now. To not think with emotion, but think on the logical aspect of how would I handle this situation individually. So I love the concepts y'all put together, and I'm glad that J. Rob brought the clarity. But you hit the nail on the head, like boom. It has to be a sense of leadership, and I'm glad this young man is here for this at this time and making sure that he putting a plan together. Because J. Rob hit on the head, so that like born, we don't plan to have a family. We don't plan to be fathers. We only plan on getting out there and getting what we can as young men at that time, or young boys, before we come in and we grow into fathers, because we know the kind of fathers that we didn't want to be, that we seen in front of us, but wasn't taught the course of action on how to correct it, or knowing the programs we can actually take to get the therapy, or the people that we needed to talk to so we can have the right mindset on how to go forward. And with all that being said, I'm glad that Fatherhood is back. I'm glad we get an opportunity to all put our heads together to help people like this young man that's here on stage himself. I'm glad we're all still together, able to handle this and wanting to get this so we can put the information out there. And I land my plan on this one. With everything that we are doing and we have done and are going to do, it is going to be something that is going to be exponential, and it's going to be on a greater platform than we ever thought. So I'm glad that we brought this over to StreamYard so we can stream on several different platforms at one time. And I'm happy to be back. Thank you, Dr. Ron, for taking the time to put everything together. And I appreciate everybody on the panel for coming out and doing their thing. I land.
Amen, fam. But that's the reality. You know what? I often, being from my generation, in fact, we were born in the same year, Tupac, right? And it's often there's this debate about, oh, Tupac he's the best rapper, he's the best this and that. I'm like, you guys are having, and usually when that debate come up, I don't think people really understand the debate that they're having, right? And so because what happened is they're so busy and they don't understand every time. They don't. What I guess what we really didn't understand is, I'm like, you should have asked yourself what makes Tupac the standard, right? I said so. I said, here's a teachable moment. What makes Tupac historically? What makes Tupac the standard is not that he was a great rapper, and so it wasn't the kind of rapper he was. It was the kind of man he was. And so anytime you see yourself comparing yourself, when you say, oh, this person is better than Tupac, this person is better than Tupac, this person, I said, yeah. And listen, they can very well be the better rappers, but if they wasn't better men than Tupac, that's what you're really comparing yourself to. So most of the time, when you hear that Tupac argument, it's not so much the rapper they're comparing themselves to. It's the better man that they're comparing themselves to. And so that man's manhood was solidified because he was able to, you saw, and he never forgot about putting those priorities, right, in his artistry. He never forgot about making sure that his artistry was inclusive of his advocacy. And so he knew how to balance the advocacy and the artistry and not forget about those, you understand, that got him to those moments that he was in the short life that he did have. And so it's not never about the type of rapper Tupac was. His standard is not limited to the rapper he was. It was unlimited to the man he was. And until you become the man and the artist, you understand, you're going to probably always lose that argument. It's very rare that people can actually balance both the type of man you are versus the type of artist you are. And he ended up being the type of man he was superseded the artist he was. And that's what people advocate for. Here it is about 25 or going towards 30 years after his death. And so I think that's the type of things when it comes to legacy. We always talk about legacy, but when we think about legacy, we put too much money on it. And you're going to find out people with money just die because nobody really remember them anyway. Your legacy literally lives on in the people that you impacted, that continue to be the voice after you're gone, and continue to think your memory and everything that you did was valuable. It's not about your valuables, It's about how you made people feel valuable that lives on and determine your legacy. Your money, you can build as many buildings as you want to build, but people still wouldn't know who you are. And that's the thing about I just wanted to say about what we were discussing tonight in its totality about being not only just manhood but fatherhood.
Mm. That is. Hey, listen. This conversation is hot and heavy. It is definitely a conversation that when we begin looking at where we stand as fathers and how we stand as fathers and what happens when we are fathers. Oh, look here! Here come one of these awesome fathers right now. A brother I ain't seen in a while. It's good to see this young brother come on here. Tay, my man Tay, introduce it. You can say hello. Tell to give a little background. How many children you have and who you are. Um, I love it.
Hey, I'm so happy y'all back, man. Like born Dr. Ron, man. I'm so happy y'all back, man. I understand, man. I I had to call you. Was like, hey, y'all still doing this? Like, I know I disappeared for a while. I had like going through just life in general. But man, I'm so happy y'all back. Y'all don't understand, man. But but yeah, my name is well, it's still Tay Wilburn, but I kind of go by Brent now. Brent Tay. I feel like Tay just a little bit too ratchet though. So I just go, I just call him. Yeah. And then I tell people, like, even in the professional world, I start telling people, it's Tay, and they be like, Tay. I'm like, no. So I just like, you know what? My name is, either Brent, or I just go by, Brent Tay, Wilburton. 32 years old, soon to be 33. I'm actually the host of a podcast called Our Own Opinions. I do have to go on it more. One day, hopefully Dr. Ron allowed me to post the link in here when I do go live. Do need to get more consistent with it. Yeah, but it's called Our Own Opinions. I mostly go live like on Facebook, Instagram, things like that. I have 3 kids. One still with me full time. Two of them is actually upstairs now. They're playing on their tablet. Oh, what time it is? It's about time. They got school in about 30 minutes time for them to go to bed. But yeah, now I'm just happy y'all back. Of course, I came in late, but I seen they was saying about didn't plan on being a father, and I dang sure didn't plan. I was out there having fun, and I man, listen, it happened so fast in 5 years. 3 kids in 5 years. It happened so fast, man, and it's been a blessing, man. It's been an eye opener, a blessing. I learned how to pace myself. And I just love having these conversations, man. Even when we used to talk last, man, months ago, it just people just don't understand what fathers go through, man. And I always told myself, I want to become a pillar, definitely of my community. I made sure out of the soon to be 33 years of my life that I, never got, never went to jail, never got incarcerated, no slack to nobody else. But I really tried my hardest to do it because of the steps that I want to take in my community. Definitely pushing, um, fatherhood. Like definitely pushing that because like that's so important. And for decades and centuries, we've been getting pushed to the side. But now since we have a voice, now everybody want to call us sensitive. You also got the guys that take the woman's side and they always got some slick ass shit to say and it's like, nah, man. It's like, man, we know we as a man, yeah, we feel some type of way too about things. Like some things we just let go because it's not worth fighting for. Then some things you gotta deal with the court system. They all in your business, and it's just so much. So it's just that, man. We just like, man, if I could just work and just come home in peace, that's all that matters at the end of the day. So now I definitely want to push this fatherhood thing to the extreme and like I said, it's not about money. Definitely not about money. It's not about trying to be popular. It's just if I could just get a couple guys every weekend and just hang around with, let's sit and talk. It ain't always gotta be about money. I know I'm young. I'm born in '92. My generation all about money. They want money, and it's like I try to tell my boys like, hey man, we should get together every weekend and just chill. All us got homes. All us got houses for the most part chill talk, friends, but easier said than done. You know what I mean? So I'm just glad everybody back, man. I look forward to I don't call it this season or this go around. Yeah, about
Yeah,
to.
man.
Hey,
Yeah.
Tay, I'm always, hey boy, let me tell you something. Tay, I always been and it's very rare that you know that looking up to somebody in reverse, right? Which means looking up to somebody younger than you. And I can truly say I definitely a fan of you. You understand, and your action. And guess what? Even if you don't articulate your actions, because I think your actions is greater than your articulation. It's a lot of stuff that you're doing. You don't know how to even describe it yet. That's what makes me a fan of you. And guess who's going to be able to narrate that summary for you? The very children you raise. They're going to tell you stuff about you that you don't know about you. That's what makes me a fan of you. And so you didn't have to um, take on fatherhood at your age. You didn't have to do no soul searching at your age. You didn't have to do um, take your morality and think that it's and make your morality important at your age. You really didn't, right? Because one thing I find at 52, well, I'm 53 years old now. One thing I find at 53 years old now is guys want respect now at their age because they're grown men, and so they want to be respect and what they call appreciated, right? And on levels that they haven't really worked for or earned. And so when to be not taken seriously at 50 something years old is a very disheartening thing. You can't make your children love you. You can't make your you understand? You can't make them respect you. You're gonna get the full brunt, you understand, of what you was when it comes to your children. And they are merciless. They're very truthful, but they are merciless when it comes to distributing their pain and the narrative that you just don't want to hear. And so some of us, for the most part, it can make you go ahead and just lock up with some alcohol and try to grieve the way that you know what you didn't, what you wasn't, as opposed to having the guts, you know what I'm saying, to build on who you are. Yes, I wasn't that. I missed that train. You understand? But how can we build on this bus? Maybe you missed the train, maybe you missed the plane. But if you still got a bus to build on or build the rest of that trip on, because contrary to popular belief, that's one thing you have that their real father don't have. You are their father. You belong to them. And so that's the advantage that you have being somebody's biological father, even if you're a crappy one. Which really pisses me off because I'm a stepfather. But I don't like that opportunity that they get. You understand? That they may not necessarily have earned, but they still get because they are their father that I could not drop the ball on. You understand? And recover, if that make any sense. And so I'm like, if you being a biological father, you get that opportunity. Again, if you miss the plane, you miss the butt, miss the plane, you miss the train, you still get the bus opportunity. That means if you didn't give anything, that means you literally bust. You understand? That child will still give you a bus.
Yeah.
To be. You see people. I had a friend on here who came on here and said man, he didn't meet his father until he was 40. And now they're building a relationship at 40. You understand? That's the privilege of being a father that's so powerful that if you're not the biological father, it can make you jealous as a stepfather. And that's the reality. I mean, I'm learning so many different things, and I have to check my jealousy too, because I'm like, if I put myself in this man's shoes, and if I was where he was, I would want the opportunity to. I'll be grateful for it. So I thank you for everything you are, Tay, and thank you.
Yeah, same here, man. Same here, yeah. So and also I'm glad you brought that up. But also what I meant to say too, man, I actually just got done doing a 6-7 day fast, man, water fast, nothing but water, man. That was tough, you know. And I honestly I stopped honestly because I ended up going to a workout like 5 a.m. and a boot camp at 5 in the morning. He had us doing like hit, like real like working out, and it really like messed up like my stomach. I didn't throw up or nothing, but I knew I had to eat. But if I didn't do that, I'd have kept going. But nah, but it's crazy you say that because I didn't forgive my mom. My father probably never have a relationship with them, but I did forgive my mom as her being a parent. Or I didn't understand until probably I would say maybe 21 years old. And honestly, I remember when I was a child, like I remember everything that she was doing, and I remember like I don't care what you say, I'm still gonna do this. And you know what's so funny? I was on the phone with my mom yesterday, and I see the same thing with my son, and my son stays with me. But when I say he's a splitting image of me, and it's like I see where it's like I'm his only disciplinarian, right? My son, just like me, he don't like being disciplined though, right? I'll give him structure, I give him discipline, everything. He likes going to all everybody else, and everybody be like, oh, why he don't want to come home? Why? Or then he go over there and then he wants to come home, and people so confused, like because he has structure over here. He understands he has to do this before he gets this. When he goes over there, y'all just gives to the. He don't have no structure. Of course, he won't want. I won't. That's how I was. I won't want to come home. So it's funny you say that, like, bro, because like I literally see that with my son now, and I was like, oh man, when you get older, we're gonna see, because I want to say it's gonna be some problems, but it's like I say with my mom, I just seen like I forgave her and I apologized to her too, because how I was, and I was like, and I see it with my son right now, that stubbornness, that I'm going to do it anyway type, and I'm just like, man, but he understands, but it's I see it, and it's like like no matter what, like I'm gonna be your father. I don't care what you say. Like I'm gonna be your father. I'm gonna teach you structure. I'm gonna give you tough love. But guess what? Anytime we go to the store and stuff, he always, and then he knows, Daddy, I want this, because he knows I'm going to get it. But then he also knows, like, hey, you also got to do this. You got to do your homework. You got to eat all that food. But I know you want to go play, but you got that food. Hey, it's 9:30. I know you don't want to go to bed, but you got to go to bed. Other places, like, he don't have that. You know what I'm saying? So it's funny you say that, because man, I see it right now with him, man, with my son who stays with me, and it's like it just come all back in full circle, all in full circle, man. Oh,
Wait. I'm gonna say this to you, Ate. Um, wait till they become adults, and you get that phone call that like, yo, you know what? I was telling them how it should be, and they're gonna start regurgitating the stuff that you did with them that gave them that structure. And yo, it's interesting. I'll tell you now, because there are times where I'm just like chilling, and my daughter will call me and be like, "Yo, Daddy, remember what you used to tell me to do my homework on Fridays so I have the weekend free?" And I'll be like, "Yeah." Then you, I told you, because you want the weekend free. So she'll be. It's like those things that you're instilling in them. They're trying to pass it on to other people, because as an adult, they finally understand what you were trying to teach them. And it's like, in the moment now, they ain't gonna get it, because they're gonna be like, "Oh man, you just want to be hard, or you just want to do." But when they get older, they'll understand. Take it from me. Take it from me. My daughter calls me almost all the time to repeat stuff that I was like, "Yo, I told you that." She's like, "Yeah." Like, okay, well, good. I didn't do a bad job. So I'm gonna tell you, it pays off in the future. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing, man.
J Rob, they hear you better when you're not there.
Okay.
But I just wanted to give a shout out to I see in the comments Jay Maloney and Rob. You can, Dr. Ron, you can go ahead and shout out our sponsors as well before we time out.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm glad that you brought that up, because one of the big parts of how we were able to continue this show, and one thing that was very important that we also want to do is highlight father-friendly businesses that is helpful to fathers and for fathers and to fathers. Our main two right now, when one of the things when we went away, I said, hey, I need to make sure we get some sponsors, at least a sponsor. And if you are interested in being father friendly and want to, get your sponsorship on the platform, definitely reach out, hit me on any of those platforms. I read all the emails and I get all the messages, and so I mean, at the time that we got the cease and desist, man told us we couldn't use what Fatherhood something we was using. He said that's his page and with 2 videos, and obviously that was because we had like 400 videos, and he was like, "Oh, you took my idea after 2 videos." But anyway, our sponsors. Let me introduce you to our 2 sponsors. Sponsors right now. Our first sponsor, who is a father of this program, and it is if you lock it, we will pop it. Vix Locks Smith service. Vincent is the owner. He also is a member of Fatherhood Think Tank. So if you are in that South Florida area and you find yourself locked out, I mean, the other day I was getting in the car and I accidentally put the keys in the trunk as I was about to go out of town. And and I realized that luckily it was a rental car, so we had another key and we could get that, so you didn't have to worry. But if that happens to you, check out Vincent. He will be there. Check. If you lock it, he will pop it. So check out Vince Locks Smith Services. And then our other sponsor he should be here to introduce himself. He probably somewhere doing some JAG services. JAG attorney at law in Miami-Dade, Broward, West Palm. That covers most of South Florida. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as if working for the Lord, not for men. And that is really true about this attorney right here. I believe that's a excellent quote for him. He's an attorney at law, brother, and give you the information.
Johnny A. Gaspar.
Jag is Johnny A. Gaspar Esquire. He can be reached. Phone number 305 827 8087. So if you're looking for an attorney for something, and we're looking to get some more attorneys and get some more people who can really help fathers in the communities that we're broadcasting. So this is not, don't feel like, well, we just doing South Florida, we just doing a certain area. We're willing to service the nation. So if you come on, if you're in Georgia, if you're in Texas, you're in New York, Philadelphia, Virginia, West Virginia. Listen, let's go out to the Midwest. That might be a little early, and if we get some people, Seattle, Oregon, Portland, we'll push time back so you guys can participate too. But this is a platform we want you to share, like, subscribe. Everybody on here tonight, please go look up the pages. Facebook, Fatherhood Think Tank Facebook page, Fatherhood Think Tank, Instagram, Fatherhood Think Tank, YouTube page. Subscribe, become a member, like, follow, so you can then share this information to other fathers. I don't want to sound biased. Our show is not just for fathers. The show is open to the public for one reason, because we want everybody to be able to see mothers who are, mothers and wives and children. Definitely come, because you might hear something to help you better understand that man, that father that's in your life. And then you can say, yeah, but Dad, I was listening to the Fatherhood Think Tank, and I think I understand why you operate and why you feel this way. Maybe you should go in there and ask a question. Maybe you should go in there and give your point of view, because you'll be a good father, a good husband, a good father figure to point out, as we have so many father figures here tonight. With that being said, we like to keep our time right. We came at a time, and we're going to leave on the time. And for everybody else who don't know now, we'll be right back here again, 7 o'clock Tuesday night, for another episode of Fatherhood Think Tank. Any final comments before we get up out of here?
This is unlimited, and we need to let the audience know that this is an unlimited platform. So you can be a single mother or a single parent in need of fatherly advice. So it's not just for like an isolated group of fathers. We deal with what they call universal fatherhood, And so fatherhoods from every walk of life, this is what this platform is for. And if you find someone on this platform that don't fit your type of fatherhood, then you get to be the expert or bring your experience to actually fill that void of what's not being represented in that particular type of fatherhood. So that's what this platform is particularly for, and that's all I have to say about that.
I think Lightborn hit it on the head. We don't have a preconceived notion of what should be or not be fatherhood. What we're trying to do is, like a think tank would do anything, bring as many experiences and minds onto the platform that could all at some point merge and expand and be able to develop and give people an option to say that this is how this is work, this is how it doesn't work, this is what I think I like, this is what I don't like, and this is how I would do it. So I would say, without a doubt, clear as day, this is the kind of platform that is a platform for the fathers, but for everyone. And one of the big things that we do, I'll just say this: it was hard to get back here. Every week I was saying I need to do it, and I said, hey, April is my month, and that's when it's going to happen, and we're going to get back. Because once you get going, you don't stop. I think what happened is this what happened. The brothers say we should take a break. This is why I don't like to stop. Because once you stop, anything, you take a hard time to get back on that horse. But we're not getting off the horse. We're gonna keep riding the horse straight on out, and riding. Even in the instance of way I think and then operating, even if we're not having the actual show, our live show, we'll go back in the archives and play an old show for that day on this time. So most of the time we're gonna be live. We plan to be live, but if there's like a holiday or something, we know that it's gonna be difficult. Get all dad. Be prepared to not watch, because we will still be here. And I'll tell you, them old shows are some humdiggers. So I'm be looking at getting some of the best ones with some of the best topics. We and the crew will be getting together, developing our new topics for this new season. Well, I won't even say season, for our ongoing meetings. And if you have some topics, feel free to put them into the chat. I'm reading all the chats. I'm looking at there. I'm commenting with all the people that's there. So if you got some ideas, some things you might think that should go into here, something we should talk about, something that you feel that would be important for fathers, or something that, even if it's some hard questions you think that we need to ask and answer, we here for it. We here for everything. We here for all parts of it, and we go there. We're not gonna shy away, because shying away is cheating our children and our legacy without transparency. And that's what one thing is important when you feel and you can live a certain life with transparency. Good, bad, or ugly, transparency will always prevail. With that being said, I want to thank all the fathers that joined us here tonight. I want to thank every one of you who are here. And I'm gonna just hit us with a chant and say, I am.
I am.
Hold on. Y'all done got lost. I see, this is what happens. You be gone for a while. I am. What's I am? I am. What did it say? I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a man of honor.
I am a man of honor.
I am a man of courage.
I am
a man of courage.
I am a man of respect.
I am a man of respect.
I say, I am.
I am.
I say that you are.
You are.
I say that we are.
We are.
Championship
Father.
All right, so we're gonna put that out so we can send a memo out so everybody, because I even messed it up. We're supposed to say respect second and courage last. But it's rusty. We rusty, but we ain't busted. We still here. But we'll be back next week. We'll be back hard and heavy, looking for more clever fathers to be a part of the Fatherhood Think Tank. Until then, remember that it is your mission and your goal to lead your children and your family. And without you, that means they wander in the wilderness without any lead or any structure. In that name, we say thank you for joining us, and we'll see you here next week on the Fatherhood Think Tank. Like, share, subscribe, and become a part of the experience. Good night.
Good night.
Have a
Good
blessed
night,
Good night,
fellas.
y'all.
Nice.
All right, man.